Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Laguna Seca for round 3 of the ESR GT4 World Tour. I am your commentator, Michael Magus. No one is with me today because we're running solo because we're a little bit behind on the commentary backlog, and I got my sister's birthday stuff this evening. We're doing a little family Skype call thing, and we also have Byron a little bit out of commission due to work and just generally being a little bit tired. So I'm gonna take a gander at doing this solo. We're here at Laguna Seca. It is obviously soaking wet, as you can see, and that is gonna be interesting because that means that it's not gonna nearly be as much about pace as it normally is. Speed is always a component to a win, but not messing up in the wet probably is a bigger component here today. Paul Riccobene currently has pole position ahead of Matt Higgs, Dominic Turcotte, William Murrah, and John Archie, your top 5. Top bronze driver is Trevor Chaney in 6th place, and your top silver is Cliff Hemian in 8th place right now. But we still do have 50 seconds left of qualifying, so we may see some late adjustments here as a number of cars start on the track. Murrah, Archie, Chaney, Jeff Wentworth, Hemian I mentioned, Guillermo Martinez, Diego Alonso, who we are with right now, Archer Bellotti, Ayrton Tobin, Tony Yimbo, David Brock, all trying to improve their times. We'll see if they can manage this. We have a yellow flag out on track briefly. We're not expecting this rain to clear up. We're expecting a rainy day throughout, which is going to be interesting because, of course, Laguna Seca, desert track, not great drainage. And then you add on top of that, you got a lot of elevation changes where there can be some puddling going on. So it'll be interesting to see how the GT4s tackle it and handle things today. I don't think we have any new cars in the field today. Still no Ginettas joining up. No KTMs today, with Justin Swan being absent. We have a couple of McLarens, obviously, a healthy Mercedes group of, 7 Mercedeses? A single Camaro, a pair of Porsches, an Audi, an Alpine, a couple Aston Martins, looks like a trio of Aston Martins, single BMW in the field. So, decent variety, but the Mercedes have been the cars to beat to date. So we got the awaiting here as time clicks down. And we are waiting for the grid to start forming up here, as that is William Murrah in the Bullet Racing Mercedes, bringing it on home. Looks like he's one of the last ones out on track, him and Cliff Hemian. And he's going to go try and finish the lap, even though I have no idea what the gap is like. Let's see if he betters his time. And doesn't look like he did. 4th place still for William Murrah. He'll be a contender for sure. That being said, you gotta think that his style of very on-the-edge driving probably will suffer a little bit in the rain. But we'll find out. Cliff Hemian coming across the line, last qualifying lap, and he does not improve on his lap time. So the grid will see Paul Riccobene start up in front, followed by Matt Higgs, Turcotte, Murrah, Archie, Chaney, Wentworth, Hemian, Keckley, Martinez, Chaney, the second one, Alonso, Bellotti, Magus, Tobin, McRae, Yimbo, Martel, Castor, and Brock. Sorry that was a little bit rushed, but we don't always have a lot of time with the qualifying results here. So we'll see if we'll see if Paul Riccobene can stay out in front and lead us away in the 147 Camaro. Would think that the Camaro would struggle in the wet. Feels like it's a car that does slide around a fair bit, so you would think it would be a bit of a weaker car, but it is on pole, so who knows. Of course, the 3D Speed Series was here a little bit ago. Riccobene and Higgs were top men in that as well as Turcotte and Murrah, so for a lot of these guys, this is a second attempt, just in a different car class at this track. Matt Higgs was the winner in 3D Speed, but that was also in the dry. We'll see what that translates to in the wet. As time ticks down here, it's going to be an interesting race, I think. A lot of stuff going on there. Not too many pro entries in this field. Only 6 pros total. The top 5 plus Jeff Wentworth. So it's an interesting day for some of the silvers and even some of the bronzes to shine. And we continue to see that Trevor Cheney, as well as his brother Seth Cheney, doing very, very well in the GT4 category. They're really handling things quite well here. Of course, we know Laguna Seca pretty well. The famous corkscrew, the kink, Andretti hairpin, rainy curve. I will say, just as a spoiler here, rainy curve in the rain, much, much harder than you would think it would be. Because normally it's kind of not a huge thought-provoking corner. But here in the wet, it really can be. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with that. All right, people should be joining the field now. As you can see, the cars going up and down, hitting down to the floor. That's when the driver is in the car, ready to go racing here at Laguna Seca in the California desert. We got 40 minutes with a mandatory pit stop for tires on the slate here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we should have engines started here momentarily. There we go. Looks like somebody didn't get off the line. I think that is Dominic Turcotte. It's definitely one of the Mercedeses. That will be interesting to see how that is handled. Because William Murray is still there, but we are missing the other Mercedes on row 2 as John Archie has moved into 4th position. Turcotte still has not joined the flow. Hopefully we get a good clean first lap here in the wet. Hopefully it encourages the drivers to relax a little bit. We know that Laguna Seca is a track that is built for potential carnage on lap 1. So hopefully not see any of that here today. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. We're waiting for that green to drop. Looks like Higgs might be a little far in front, and we are off. Guillermo Martinez in the Porsche picking up a drive-through penalty. I think that's because he's ahead. I'm not sure. No, it appears he's in the right spot. Must have just got caught speeding. I didn't see what the message was. But that is an Aston Martin beside him. Everyone makes it more or less cleanly through the Andretti hairpin and turn 1. And at the front of the pack, it still appears to be Paul Riccobeni leading the way in the Chevrolet. Oh, no, it is Higgs. Higgs has jumped Riccobeni and is now in the lead. So Higgs, Riccobeni, Murrah, Archie, Wentworth, Trevor Cheney, Hemian, Keckley. Martinez owes a drive-through penalty, but he is in 9th place for now. Seth Cheney, Bellotti, Tobin, Alonso, Yimbo, McRae, Magus. Brock's up 2 spots. Castor and Martel at the back. And then it is Dominic Turcotte, who may not have joined things. I am showing him 5 seconds back, so maybe he's out there. I don't know. No, that is him still stopped right where the cars joined the grid. And that costs a spot for Jake Keckley. Guillermo Martinez slides through. Not that it really matters. Martinez facing that drive-through penalty. So all the good work the Porsche driver has done, kind of null and void. He will have to come in and serve that penalty and probably will drop to the back of the pack. Matt Higgs continues to lead from Riccobeni, Murrah, Archie, and Wentworth. Your top 5 are the pros, and they have lost their 6th pro, Dominic Turcotte, by the looks of it. Martinez looking back at Jake Keckley and Seth Cheney a little bit further back in the Aston Martin. Cheney gets hit by the big honking I do mean honkies. It's a huge car. Maserati of Ayrton Tobin. That car has no traction control and no ABS. And I'm wondering if that's going to be an advantage in the wet or not, because he's going to be a lot more used to sliding around as Jake Keckley overtakes Guillermo Martinez. And back into 8th place there. That's Cole McRae now up into the top 10 in the McLaren 570S. Tobin 11th, Seth Cheney in 12th. McRae on the attack, but held off for the time being by Guillermo Martinez as they head up towards the kink and the corkscrew. There's the kink. See it from behind as you're going through. Now we should get a really interesting view of the corkscrew here as Dominic Turcotte's car is still there. David Brock shown in 17th place, having lost a spot to Skylar Castor. And on his tail is Rick Martel in the 570. Arthur Bellotti at the back of the pack in the Burger King Alpine car. And Turcotte has been removed from the circuit. That's a very interesting scenario that they had. Must be some kind of technical failing, some kind of glitch coming into play. Well, we'll see. As Jeff Wentworth is in the pit lane. Interesting. Don't know what that would be about. Martinez has still not come in to serve his drive-through, so he's going to the end. Oh, God, Cole McRae. Into the back of Guillermo Martinez, who maybe wishes he had taken that drive-through penalty now. They both rejoin ahead of Ayrton Tobin, but it looks like Seth Cheney probably has overtaken both of them. Let's see here, that's Keckley. No, Seth Cheney is in the mix there. So Martinez retains his position. McRae drops to 11th place. Or, well, 10th place now because they both picked up a spot over Jeff Wentworth. Looks like Wentworth may be out of the race. Seth Cheney looking down the inside for the kink. I think that would be pretty poorly advised here in the wet. I don't think the kink is the kink is a dangerous overtaking opportunity in the dry. I think in the wet, that's only really going to make it worse. So Guillermo Martinez, who's at the front of this pack here in the golden Porsche, does have to come in to serve his drive-through penalty this lap, as he gets the corkscrew quite wrong and allows a couple of cars through. Seth Cheney, Cole McRae, Ayrton Tobin, all overtaking Guillermo Martinez. Also heading on through, that's Tony Yimbo. So I think that's the Audi of Michael Magus. It is. Very off-the-ground car, very high ride height on that Audi. And indeed, that is Martinez in for the unscheduled drive-through. Looks like a little bit of damage on Diego Alonso back there. Skylar Castor is coming through the field nicely. He was down in 18th place, now looks in 13th in the BMW. I would imagine that's a pretty strong car here in the wet. Should have a reasonably good grip for these wet situations. Rick Martel having a bit of a rough outing so far. He's had a very good start to the season. William Murr in 3rd place, trying to track down Riccobeni and Higgs. They're right ahead of him, so he's very much in the mix. John Archie a little bit back in the Porsche. It's Trevor Cheney running in the top 5. Cliff Hemian, Jake Keckley, Seth Cheney, Cole McRae, and Ayrton Tobin in your top 10. I would imagine McRae might be facing a penalty of some kind for the rear ending of Guillermo Martinez, but we will see. Roll on with the Bullet car of William Murray. By the way, Bullet adding a Bentley for the 3D Speed Series. That'll be driven at Kyalami by Cliff Hemian. Diego Alonso trying to hunt down Skylar Castor. It's in the Pro Sport Performance Aston Martin. A little bit of damage there. Looks like he's had a little bit of frontal contact. Bonnet is a little bit up, so he's probably suffering a little bit of extra aerodynamic drag. Paul Riccobeni, the pole sitter, down in 2nd place. Needs to get up there and attack Matt Higgs if he can. Higgs in the yellow McLaren 570. got five different makes in the top 5, but then the Mercedes impact kind of comes in with Hemian and Keckley in 6th and 7th. We've even got a Maserati in the top 10 in the form of Ayrton Tobin. That is huge, if we're being completely honest. Maserati, I think, easily the worst car in the GT4 category here in ACC, although a little bit track dependent. There are some certain tracks that the Ginetta is just absolutely hopeless in, and that's why it wasn't picked. This is not one of them, actually. I think the Ginetta would be quite strong here at Laguna Seca. Drive-through penalty for Jeff Wentworth, so his day going from bad to worse. I mean, Dominic Turcotte has the corner on the market in terms of bad luck, but Jeff Wentworth quickly getting to that level. Picking up Michael Magus, who's tussling for the last top 10 spot with Ayrton Tobin. Here as we go on board with the Audi GT4. Heading into the Andretti hairpin, turn 1 here, that kink, and then turn 2, the Andretti hairpin, the first real challenge of this circuit. Cole McRae and the McLaren just ahead of them, and there's a bit of a gap to Seth Chaney. You can see there in the dark blue and yellow Aston Martin GT4 Vantage. Tony Yimbo in the background. Magus has historically struggled in the wet, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do here. Knowing that he's got a Maserati in front of him that is not going to be the most stable of vehicles right here, and also that McLaren of Cole McRae, who looks like he's struggling a fair amount. We've seen him have a couple of moments under brakes. As somebody is off, I think that's McRae off the track. And indeed it is. That will promote Tobin to 9th, Magus up to 10th. Tony Yimbo also going to go through and probably, well, it looks like McRae managed to rejoin ahead of Diego Alonso, Skylar Castor, and Rick Martel, Arthur Bellotti. Speaking of Rick Martel, 15th place. Martel enjoying his bronze rating this season. I have a heavy favorite idea that I think Martel's probably going to bring home some hardware for the first time in a while. I mean, he was, of course, the original champion in the Zero Series, which eventually merged with ESR and became part of this large community. And he would love to add a couple more trophies, and a bronze trophy this season is definitely, I think, something he can look forward to, as he does get a little bit deep into Andretti hairpin. That lets the Alpine of Arthur Bellotti think about it in the Burger King livery. Don't think he'll be able to get this. Meantime, Diego Alonso has gotten up past Skylar Castor. As for 13th place. Up the action back in the battle for 9th, Ayrton Tobin and Michael Magus. And no offense, not really sure why we're picking up Jake Keckley here. Fair bit behind Cliff Hemian, about 4.5 seconds. And he's got about a 3-second lead over Seth Chaney. And in the background, Michael Magus did take 9th place from Tobin, and we missed that. So that we could ride on the hood of Jake Keckley. So Auto Director, you're not loving my nuts right now. The 20-minute pit window is open. Let's see if anyone elects to jump into the pits early on. I don't think so. Depends, I suppose. There are a couple of cars carrying damage. I could see them coming in early, but I doubt we'll see anyone plan to come in this early. Nice. They'll want to know how the track is developing and how to adjust their setup to maximize their pace. But Skylar Castor is in, so at least the BMW team thinks that this is a good time to get new tires on the car and go for a long second stint. Benny hunting down Matt Higgs, keeping him in sight. They've dropped William Murrow a little bit, so it's become a bit of a two-horse race up front. Slowly dropping Murrow as well as John Archie. Jeff Wentworth in to serve his mandatory pit stop, having served a drive-through earlier on. Higgs really came off a rainy corner quite poorly, and the Camaro is all over that McLaren. Now, keep in mind the McLaren rocket in a straight line, so I would not be surprised if it manages to eke out a bit of a lead here, leading up to the Andretti hairpin. Diego Alonso falling back through the order to 17th place. I was going to say, wondering if he was going in the pits, but appears not. Trevor Chaney putting a lap on Skylar Castor. Chaney having an excellent race right now in 5th place. He's very close to John Archie, only about 2 seconds behind Archie, 2.356 behind John Archie. That is incredibly good for a bronze driver. He is making huge strides in his racing ability. Would not be surprised to see him take some bronze hardware. That being said, Chaney has historically, both the Cheneys have historically missed a couple of races due to their dirt responsibilities and commitments. That may play a big role because we know Rick Martel is going to be here day after day after day, and if the Cheneys are not, that's going to let him eat up some points pretty quickly. Towards the end of another lap here, window is open for 15.5 minutes. Paul Riccobenni has dove into the pits, so he is the first of the leaders to blink and make a pit stop. Cliff Hemian also in. Bit early in my opinion. I'd want to stay out there till at least the halfway point personally. But maybe they think they can get out there and use some open track. Ayrton Tobin also into the pits. Cole McRae into the wall. Not sure what happened there. McLaren 570 probably not looking too pretty right now. There he is, just getting back to speed now as Rick Martel goes through, and looking to go through as well is the Mercedes. I'm not sure who that is. It might be Jeff Wentworth who is down a lap. That may be what explains that. Martel lets them both go. That's an odd choice. So that was for position with McRae. Wentworth I kind of get. It's a situation where Wentworth is down 4 laps, but is probably a top 5 or at least top 10 racer. So you don't really want to keep him behind you. Dave Brock there battling with Diego Alonso. That is for 14th place on track. Probably more likely to be around 17th or 16th. Once all the pit stops settle out, because they're currently ahead of Cliff Hemian as well as Ayrton Tobin. I think we'll probably overtake them once they come in for their stops. Matt Higgs is in. Seth Chaney is in. William Murrow has taken lead. John Archie still out there, as well as Trevor Chaney, Jake Keckley, Michael Magus, Tony Yimbo. Yimbo comes in. Margaret Bellotti still out there. Cole McRae, Rick Martel, Guillermo Martinez, Diego Alonso, and this man, David Brock. McRae up on Arthur Bellotti, looking to go through. And that Alpine just is not able to compete with that 570 in a straight line. That 570 is an absolute rocket engine strapped to wheels. Which gives McRae 6th place on track. Needs to make some time up here to make this overrun work. Riccobeni overtaking Guillermo Martinez for 9th place. Trevor Cheney is in. We're still not halfway through the race, so I'm surprised we're getting so many pit stops. An awkward scenario here for Bellotti. That is a lapped car of Jeff Wentworth behind him. But at the same time, it's a lot faster than him. And Bellotti will take his pit stop. See, I would have expected Bellotti to be one of the early ones in. He's been carrying a fair bit of damage there to that front end for a while. So to see him come in now, when there was such a rush on early pit stops, is a little bit weird, a little bit unexpected. Martinez running. Be interested to see where he can get up to. After all, he did have to serve that drive-through penalty for assumably speeding at the start of the race. Didn't seem like he was out of position. That is the effective race leader, potentially Paul Riccobeni out ahead, because Riccobeni has come out well ahead of Matt Higgs, so maybe the undercut was the way to go. We'll have to see in the long run here. Not really concerned about tire wear. These wet weather tires, as long as it's wet, will hang up for a fairly long time as Guillermo Martinez heads off the kink. Now, not if you do that too much. Diego Alonso, David Brock, William Murr all in the pits. Bad idea for Martinez to come in now. Paul Riccobeni is caught up to Rick Martel. Martel yet to pit. And Martinez does, in fact, go in the pits. And Martel making that fairly easy for Paul Riccobeni. They're, of course, teammates in the Tech 1 Lexus team in 3D Speed. But not so here. But at the same time, that's not a fight that Martel is in. He's number one, he's in the bronze class. This is an ace driver he's going up against. But number two, again, he has to make a pit stop, and Riccobeni does not. No need to waste time fighting for a position that you're not fighting for in reality. So we're waiting on the top four of John Archie, Jake Keckley, Michael Magus, and Cole McRae to make their stop, as well as Rick Martel. Those are the 5 overcutters, and Keckley is in. It's Jeff Wentworth behind Cole McRae. He is down a lap. A couple laps, actually. Still think Cole would probably want to just let him through, although, yeah, Cole heading down to the pit lane. Do it. That will take him out of Wentworth's way. And that leaves us with just 3 cars still going on their initial pits, on their initial tire set. John Archie, Michael Magus, and Rick Martel. Martel in the pit lane. Again, Jeff Wentworth in a lapped scenario. Martinez has come out very close to, looks like very close to Hemian, although he may be a lap, looks like he's a lap down. So, day not great there. We've lost somebody from the field. Appears like Cole McRae has had some technical difficulties. Interesting. Martel still in the pits getting his service, so it's just Archie and Magus that need to pit still. Magus catching up with Archie by the looks of it. Brought the gap down from 33 seconds to 28 seconds. I wonder if Archie maybe made a suitably large mistake there. Hard to believe that that gap would come down quite that quickly. And we will get an update on the gap because Magus is in the pit lane to get his service and new tires and head out with about 16 seconds or 16 minutes to go. Seth Chaney overtaking Cliff Hemian while Hemian's off the track. Looks like Hemian is really struggling right now. He's lost out on the pit stop phase. We'll see where he comes out. We'll see where Mike Magus comes out in relation to him. That might be the interesting thought. Because Magus will come out in the top 10, I would think. He was top 10 and quite a ways ahead of Arthur Bellotti, who currently holds second place. Imagine he'll come out somewhere in that area. So he has some significant damage to deal with. Race leader, effectively Paul Riccobeni, coming through to lap David Brock. Next on his list is Guillermo Martinez. So Magus has dropped behind Hemian. Well, not dropped, because I think he was behind Hemian before the pit stops. Should be coming out now. Here, Tobin has fared a little bit poorly in the pit stop exchanges. Down to 12th place. Apparently a little bit lower. Looks like he's had to fight his way back past Skylar Castor. Tony Yimbo in 11th place. Race leader John Archie is in the pits. We'll see if he can make his way into the top 3. William Murrah, by the way, also jumping Matt Higgs. So Matt Higgs having a terrible second half of this race. Ever since that pit stop, things have not gone well for the man who led pretty imperiously at the start. Let's see where Archie rejoins. And he's being shown in second place. I'd like confirmation on that. Because that means he's jumped Murrah and Higgs. Speaking of Matthew Higgs, there he is battling with Archie. So Archie came out behind Murrah, actually. Looks like he just crossed the timing line before Murrah did. Murrah in second place. And McLaren versus Porsche. For the final step on the podium. Drive-through penalty for Cole McRae, who has returned. So it looks like he sorted his stuff out. Put a lap on David Brock there. Looking to the inside. Well, actually, I guess that's the outside, actually. Let's rethink that. Archie going tight defensive into the last turn. And the camera cuts away to show us Seth Chaney defending against Cliff Hemian through the corkscrew. Worst news for Cole McRae. It looks like he has not cleared his pit stop in addition to the drive-through penalty. It looks like he is disconnected once again. Matt Higgs still behind John Archie as they go through the Andretti hairpin. Someone way off in the background. Not sure who that was. William Murr up ahead in a fairly comfortable lead for Paul Riccobeni. Riccobeni looking for his first win, I believe, of this series. And I pulled the series page just to verify that that is indeed correct. We have seen victories from Dominic Turcotte at Bathurst and Matthew Higgs at Suzuka, so indeed this would be a first one. Oh boy! Speaking of Matt Higgs, getting pushy at the corkscrew, gets by John Archie for now, but I would not be surprised that given the conditions and the very nature of the corkscrew, if that is reviewed by the stewards. Benny 8th at Bathurst, had a struggling time, but was second at Suzuka. So he does have a little bit of pace. Going there on the podium by Guillermo Martinez. And of course at race 1, it was a victory for Dominic Turcotte ahead of John Archie and Jeff Wentworth. Wentworth's championship campaign has kind of gone downhill since. Miss Suzuka not doing well today at all. Cliff Hemian running in 8th place. He's been having a good season so far, having wrapped up a 7th and a 12th, being 2 rounds. Not quite as good at Suzuka as he was at Bathurst, showing good speed here once again. Of course, championship leader Dominic Turcotte out of the race. So we may have a new championship leader when this is all said and done. Murrah works his way through the corkscrew. And we got a little 3-way battle going on here. Skylar Castor in a sandwich with Tony Yimbo, as well as Diego Alonso. It's for 11th, 12th, and 13th. Probably more importantly for Castor, this is a bronze podium on the line, as Castor goes very wide there. And that is going to cost him a spot to Diego Alonso. Every time I see Diego Alonso, I'm very tempted to do the, if anyone watches the Game of Zones Bleacher Report series that plays on YouTube, there's an episode called The Van Gundy Island. And as they're leaving, the Van Gundys start singing the Alonso morning summoning by just going, Alonso! And Diego Alonso's name inspires thoughts of that. It's a good little bit if you enjoy a combination of Game of Thrones and basketball. It's Cole McRae behind Jake Keckley, who is out there just trying to salvage whatever he can. He's missed the pit stop window, and he has a drive-through penalty. So he's had some problems in the pit lane. He slipped down to 19th. I don't think he'll score more than that, but 19th is still points, so good to see him out there hustling. Same with Jeff Wentworth. So hopefully he doesn't terribly get in anyone's way. I do love Jake Keckley's livery, that black and green Mercedes. One of my favorites. Also, the Mervitz Industries sponsorship, also very good. But that's because I'm not wearing. Wentworth is back in the pit lane for a 3rd time, or 4th time in the pit lane. A rough day for him. Seth Chaney, Cliff Hemian scrapping over 7th. Very close together there through Rainy Curve, and we'll head into the final bit of the section here. Last turn's a good overtaking zone, so if I'm Cliff Hemian, I'm setting up for that move. But it doesn't appear it's going to come here as Cole McRae covers from the sand trap. of time left in this series. We've got 3 rounds left. We will go to Kyle Almy in the South African... I'm not really sure where in South Africa it is, if it's in the wilderness zone or what, as Cliff Hemian does jump under Seth Chaney there, who got very wide through the Andretti hairpin, and that opened the door for the Mercedes driver to take 7th place. And then we're off to Donington Park in the UK and finishing up the season at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. Interesting that we actually only have 2 European-based rounds in this series, which is difficult to do with ACC because there's not a lot of non-European tracks to date. We're really excited if we can get the America track pack soon and also the Asia track pack, which would widen things up considerably. John Archie looking to get back on that podium. Matt Higgs is right there, and Higgs has not left him for dead. That overtake at Corkscrew, controversial. Wouldn't be surprised if the stewards had a look at it. Arthur Bellotti dropping through the ranks down to 15th place. Not sure what is up with the Alpine driver. Time running down here, a little over 6 minutes to go. Paul Riccobeni leads by 8.3 seconds over William Murrah. Matt Higgs hanging on to 3rd place right now in a very big battle with John Archie. Then it's Trevor Chaney in 5th, Jake Keckley in 6th, Cliff Hemian. Oh, somebody going for a move. That is Tony Yimbo going down the inside of Diego Alonso into the Corkscrew. And, I mean, that is bold. Enough time, I think, for it to be fair, but bold in this weather. That's 11th place for Tony Yimbo. Back to the rundown. Seth Chaney is in 8th place, followed by Michael Magus in 9th, Ayrton Tobin in 10th. And it is Yimbo who just took that spot away from Diego Alonso, who, interestingly enough, didn't seem to fix his car at his pit stop. Not sure if that's a good idea. Skylar Castor, 13th. Then it's Rick Martel, Arthur Bellotti, and then the Bad Luck Brigade of Guillermo Martinez, Dave Brock, Jeff Wentworth, and Cole Pratt. As an all-pro podium with the Cheneys 1, 2 in bronze right now ahead of Alonso, and in silver it is Keckley, Hemian, and Magus. Sand there for Tony Yimbo, giving Alonso an excellent run here into turn number 5, and Yimbo giving it away. So actually, I think that's that's very close to where the position changed hands last lap, and the Corkscrew 2 turns later, and Yimbo could not keep it. Skylar Castor going very wide there in the BMW. That will do your tires no favors. Especially in the wet, because I imagine with the treads in play, there would be some problems. Guillermo Martinez on the tail of Arthur Bellotti. The other Porsche of John Archie also hunting for a podium against Matt Higgs, and it looks like Bellotti got dusted by Guillermo Martinez. Not surprising, Martinez usually a lot higher in the pecking order. And Bellotti getting out of the way and letting Higgs and Archie through to continue their battle. Tad bit unnecessary, I think. I think Bellotti could have stayed on the track easily and still facilitated the blue flag clearing without going into the dirtier runoff area. Riccobeni's lead is closed down to 6.4 seconds. I don't think there's enough time for it to really make a difference, but interested to see Murrah surge here late. Or maybe Riccobeni negotiating some lapped traffic. Be do have it out there in the forms of Brock and Wentworth, as well as Belodi, Martinez, and possibly Rick Martel. Not sure where the lead lap goes down to. Martinez gets nicely out of the way for Matt Higgs, not helping out his brand mate John Archie at all. Could Cole McRae please report to the pit lane? Cole McRae, drive through penalty. There is, in fact, Paul Riccobeni working his way through some considerable traffic. That is, I want to say that's the Mercedes of Tony Yimbo ahead of him. It is. It's Diego Alonso and Skylar Caster in the background. Caster losing a bit of control. That he does successfully negotiate 10th place. Tony Yimbo to bring him down a lap. 11th place, Tony Yimbo, pardon me. It's Ayrton Tobin up in 10th place. William Murrah following him through has closed that down another second. Probably only has one more lap after this to get the job done. Need to focus on clearing Skylar Caster. Down the inside of Rainy Curve, Caster making that quite easy. Now Riccobeni has Diego Alonso as a shield, as well as possibly Tony Yimbo. Jeff Wentworth back in the pit lane. It's been an absolutely miserable day for him, as well as Cole McRae. And it looks like we may have lost someone from the high end of the order. It looks like Trevor Cheney has disconnected. That is an absolute shame. He was having a fantastic race. Was looking at a top 5 position. And to lose it now, that's got to hurt. Everyone should be more or less on their final lap now. Rick Martel battling with Skylar Caster. That is for 12th place. And the final step on the bronze podium behind the surviving Cheney, Seth Cheney, and Diego Alonso. Wonder if Cheney will still be classified, given that he did finish what I imagine to be the requisite number of laps. So William Murrah puts a lap on Diego Alonso. You can see he's lost a ton of time working his way through traffic here. I don't think there is much you can do about Higgs or about Riccobeni up front. We'll find out. Checker flag should be coming out very shortly. Higgs stuck behind Rick Martel for the time being. There's not much going on there. And Paul Riccobeni is your race winner here at Laguna Seca. Coming back after a couple of not great races there. And rounding out the podium is going to be William Murrah and Suzuka winner Matt Higgs, who I think become the championship leader. John Archie in 4th place, followed by Jake Keckley once he crosses the line. It looks like up to 9th place was lapped because Tony Yimbo, Skylar Caster, Diego Alonso, Rick Martel, Guillermo Martinez all finishing the race. So wait on Hemian, Cheney, Magus, Tobin, Brock, McRae, possibly Wentworth, although he's in the pits. I assume he's effectively done. But, I do predict that he would be leaving the pit lane. Looks like we've lost somebody from the pecking order. Tony Yimbo. I think that's probably a disconnect after the checker flag has been waved. Not appreciated when people do that. It causes the standings to move at the last second as Michael Magus comes across the line. We await Tobin and Brock. As well as Cole McRae to finish up. We were watching Rick Martel on his cool down lap. And Cole McRae getting a 130-second penalty for not completing the mandatory pit stop. So that is everyone done. Let's get ourselves the rundown of the results here. If we could please get that. I could also pull that up on Race App, I suppose. And there we go. There's apparently some talk about the pit exit and the correct procedure. The Laguna Seca pit exit is admittedly a bit of a nightmare, and I think the fact that it rejoins into a bit of a dangerous area is actually a bit of a problem. Anyways, Paul Riccobeni is your winner from William Murrah. Matt Higgs, the all-platinum podium. John Archie's your top gold driver, followed by top silver Jake Keckley with Cliff Hemian and Michael Magus joining him on that podium. The bronze podium made up of Seth Chaney, Skylar Castor, and Diego Alonso. Top 10 rounded up by Ayrton Tobin and Tony Yimbo. And I'll give you a quick rundown of the current standings. This has given Matt Higgs the lead at the halfway point here by 3 points over Paul Riccobeni and John Archie, 246 to 249 to 246, 246. And William Murrah in fourth place on 243. So very, very tight, very interesting. Top in the silver category with 204 is Cliff Hemian, followed by 180 for Guillermo Martinez, 171 for both Dominic Turcotte and Rick Martel. The bronze leader, 168 for Tony Yimbo, and Jake Keckley rounds off the top 10 with 156. The bronze podium right now is rounded up by Arthur Bellotti, 147, and 144 for Diego Alonso, as the Cheneys have found some bad luck. Looks like Trevor Chaney did get a classified 17th place finish. So like I said, next up is Kyle Almy. We also got 3D Speed coming up this Wednesday from Kyle Almy, so we'll get a double dose of the South African jewel of motorsports. So get ready for that. It's a challenging track. It's an electrifying track. It's a track that breeds a little bit of carnage, and we'll see what a little bit is, I suppose. So Mike Mag is signing out. Hopefully I have a partner next time, and I don't know, hope you enjoy.